In this week's show, we're talking to Irfan Sadiq, founder and chairman of Blue Gem Hemp. And you'd be surprised to hear about the similarities between the sort of technologies that exist with the creation of CBD and hemp products and the overlap with his prior career, which is IT digital transformation. So we talk about that. We talk about those similarities. We also talk about what it means to be a fully integrated CBD company. Let's jump right into this week's episode of the LA Business Podcast. Welcome to the LA Business Podcast, your destination to hear stories of how businesses grow and scale. I'm Robert Brill, CEO of Brill Media and the host of this podcast. Now, let's jump right into this week's interview. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the LA Business Podcast. Today our guest is Irfan Sadiq, founder and chairman of Blue Gem Hemp. Blue Gem Hemp is a vertically integrated company based in the US. Thanks for being on our show today, Irfan. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Robert. Honored to be here today.
So tell us a little bit about Blue Gem Hemp and how you came to found and operate a fully integrated hemp company.
Absolutely. So our journey started with when my wife and I we both embarked on our, personal health and wellness. We were I was, diagnosed with chronic illness, chronic migraine, and my wife, unfortunately, inherited fibromyalgia and, type 2 diabetes. So we were not happy with our conventional, per se, pharmaceutical drugs. So we were looking for alternative, medication, or I should say, alternative medicine. And that's how we stumbled upon, CBD. So once we used it, we saw a significant difference, right? And then we decided that, okay, well, if it's helping us, then, we should carry on and, help other people out there. Obviously, we weren't the last one, correct?
So fascinating. So tell me a little bit about, you started this business right at the moment when the world fundamentally changes during COVID. Tell us about how you make a decision about your business, and were there moments when you decided, when you were concerned about moving forward because the world was changing and there was so much uncertainty? Or how do you think about the decisions you make launching a hemp company during one of a decade, once in a century global pandemic?
Yeah. So fortunately for us, we had actually originally started our research and development, our R&D component back in 2019.
Got it.
So just because from the legal licensing perspective, state of Illinois did not allow issuing both hemp growers and processing licenses until late 2019. So, that's the main reason why we had to wait until 2020 to launch it. But absolutely, unprecedented times. I have never imagined in my, I would say even dreams that I would be able to take on such a huge undertaking, right? But I think it's one thing connected with another, and here we are today.
So tell us about how you go to market with hemp, and tell us, for the audience listening, how do you distinguish between CBD, between hemp? Like what are the distinguishing factors there that we should know?
So cannabinoid oil is the main cannabinoids found within the hemp plant. Hemp, scientific, I think, name is the Cannabis sativa. It's the same species, which is, oftenly mistaken with another cannabis plant that's, known to, in common, I think commonly it's known as marijuana, right? So, but we drive our CBD from or extract from the hemp plant. So the significant difference between the hemp and its biological cousin, I should say, is that hemp produces very less traces of tetrahydrocannabinol, right? The main psychoactive agent, even though there are many different cannabinoids associated with THC, right? It's not, but for the lack of better words, I think uh, everyone's familiar with THC.
Yep.
So what our distinction really truly, Robert, comes out when we talk about extraction methodology, right? So we leverage a very proprietary scientific extraction method. Uh, and it's the result or end result is that you get like a pharmaceutical grade hemp oil or
Hmm.
CBD oil. Our specialty is also within what's called a full spectrum,
Okay.
right? Versus you have a broad spectrum or then isolated CBD. So we leverage science, right? Okay, and specialize in extracting it in its most purest organic form. That's what's really truly sets us apart from the rest of the competition.
Okay. And so tell us about what it means to be a fully integrated hemp company. Like what does that mean?
Sure.
And why is
So
that unique? And why is that unique also?
full vertically integrated company, that we from end to end control all the processes in house. So we have selected farmers that we select the seeds that needs to be when they start growing process, all the way from there what strain they need to grow for us, under what condition. Our farmers here in Wakanda, Illinois, the land that he uses, that 100 plus acres, have not seen any fungicide, any synthetic chemical, or any germicide, since last 80 plus years. So that makes a significant difference because hemp naturally soaks all the minerals and everything within, from the soil, right? So that's the very first step. And then along the way, then obviously, we have our uh, special instruction. How are we going to dry that hemp, right? So he follows those instructions. And by the way, our hemp is harvested by hand, right? So we don't even want to leverage no machinery because there are some drawbacks, unfortunately, even though, technologically, some people might, disagree on that part. And then, it's all hand trimmed. Then we get it packed and it's delivered to us. We process in house, right? We extract from crude oil all the way to a process called decarboxylation, in which we transform all the acidic form of the cannabinoids into non-acidic form. As an example, cannabis oil is not CBD, right? It's CBDA. And then same way THC is THCA. So we go through this process where I think the easy definition is that we expose our crude oil to extreme heat in order to convert, or literally, as the word says, decarboxylation. We kind of remove the oxygen out of it, or some also other parts, right?
So, when you think about CBD and hemp, there's a lot of brands. I mean, we're in the very early Wild West stages of brand development for these products. How do you distinguish your business from the myriad of hemp and CBD solutions in the marketplace? How does a consumer make a decision that this hemp or this CBD product is better for me, or works better for my system than another? I think that's some fundamental challenge with the CBD market in the United States. Like there's no brand association yet. We're too early in the game.
That is correct. I concur with that. However, the question, I would say, has twofold. So I'll concentrate on two different things, right? Number one, how do we stand out, right? So, like I said, our extraction method is gear, and our concentration or specialty is what's called a full spectrum extraction methodology, meaning that we extract everything from or within the hemp flower, right? Okay, we don't just isolate anything. So that being said, our extract contains the major component, which is cannabis oil or CBD, and then multiple minor cannabinoids, all the terpenes, the natural terpene, flavonoids, that are part of that strain that we select to do our extraction from. So that's number one. Number two, it's so hemp or CBD. The both. It's very difficult to say that which brand is going to work for everyone. To be honest with you, right? And the reason why, because I think everyone's physiological anatomy is different. Every human has a different blueprints of their endocannabinoid system, their immune system. So to be honest with you, that in my humble opinion is the answer why it's very difficult to say that, hey, one company makes this product and that product's it's not like a one fits all size. So
Sure. How do you tell us about how you incentivize trial with your business? How do you get people who are in the market to try Blue Gem and the variety of offerings that Blue Gem has?
so the very first thing, I think, when we started out, we kind of, I'm not going to call it a clinical trial, because definition of that is totally different. However, I randomly selected and sent about 4,500 plus bottles for our bestseller, which is a 1,200 milligram potency, out to people, right? And when we got their feedback, uh, based off of that, we were so confident that we offer what's very unique thing in this industry is 180 days money back guarantee, right? So you've got six
Really?
months from the day of purchase. Yes, sir. It's just published openly on our website, right? So, and believe me or not, up until we've been in the business for a little over a year, not even a single return. That's how happy the customers are, right? So, but recently, within the last, I think, week or so, we started also conducting, CBD sampling events over at our hemp farm in Wakanda, Illinois. So for local customers, we had, many people showed up and they enjoyed, sampling before, they purchased anything what was good for them. So that's the methodology we've been using so far.
Wait, I'm sorry. So you have a physical location,
We don't have a physical
or
location,
or
but
you incentivize trial at a CBD
the
shop,
the trial, not at the shop, but our hemp farm.
hemp
So
bar?
our hemp, yeah, it's a hemp farmer, said that, hey, we can use that hemp farm in order to, do our sampling there every Sunday.
No kidding. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're going, when do you go, looking back, when did you go to market with the product?
So we launched our product precisely in March of 2020. Uh, a
Oof.
week before, a week before the global pandemic was announced, right? So we had to pivot a little bit from our strategies there, but then we ended up by deciding that, hey, just because majority of the people are staying in the comfort of their home, right, in the safety of their homes, so we pivoted from our typical brick and mortars to 100% direct to consumer business model. So since then we've been doing our only place of sale is online, right, through our website.
And how do you drive traffic? How do you get people to buy?
So organic search engine optimization, as I'm sure as you're aware, that none of you know mainstream electronic media or none of the social media platforms, with very recent exception, of LinkedIn. Unfortunately, it's prohibited to advertise anything, right? So
Well, social platforms, yes, but open web is available for CBD brands.
yes, open web is what we are leveraging. Correct. Yep. So
USA
along with the
Today, BuzzFeed, a bunch of, yeah, it's it's
yep,
it's open. I know. So
yep.
tell us about how you're. So tell us about that. Like, tell us about your experiences with marketing and advertising the business. So SEO, advertising. Tell us more.
And then our press releases and public relations, right, department, that's what we are leveraging. But these are the platforms how we are uh, getting in front of our intended or targeted customers.
Interesting. And when you talk about growth, what are you focusing on to propel your business forward as we enter the second part of 2021?
So scaling up from that standpoint, when we started out this business, believe me or not, we were in a very small, uh, literally a 500 square feet uh, was our space for our R&D lab, right? That's how we started out. And then the way I would say, laid out the design is we are at this place called Innovation Park, and they are literally the landscape of cloud computing, right? So they give you this opportunity where you can scale up from infrastructure perspective as big as you want to be. It's over a million square feet worth of space at our disposal, right? Not that we are leveraging the entire million square feet right now. We are very we're still in our infancy stage, right? However, that really truly helped us out. Plus, the extraction machines, the entire, as I mentioned, being a full vertically integrated company, right? Our end-to-end processing model is what can be scaled up to any level that we really truly need in order to support our growth.
So, you've had a long career doing, I mean, with big titles, senior systems architect, in the IT space, essentially, right? So a lot of things that I just know nothing about. I know that I need. We have an IT consulting firm, and they do all kinds of interesting things, and they help us stay safe on the web, right? So I have no insight into any of that work, but what I do know is that the work that you're doing in another lifetime in that old career that you had is dramatically very different than the work that you're doing now. What Tell us about the shift that you made and why you made that shift.
Absolutely. So, if you ask me from my perspective, my humble opinion is that it's not that different at all, right?
Okay.
So I was in digital transformation technologies, being as a technologist, still at the core, I am a technologist, right? Hence, the proof is in the pudding, right? You look at our extraction method, rather than if I had not identified the gap that I saw personally, right? Putting my technologist lens on that, hey, right now, every single company that you see in the industry has is leveraging the CO2 supercritical or solvent based methodologies. And in my humble opinion, and no offense to no one, that's an ancient methodology, right? Okay. So our extraction machines are fully automated, by the way, right? They are connected to our personal, obviously, network, and then to a neural network where we take a whole lot of studies, right, and do some data science there, right, for machine learning and deep machine learning. So it's a lot of technology involved still, right? Okay, I can be sitting at Mars literally, and I can, turn on my entire cycling or I should say extraction machine process, right? Okay, so our machines can, auto feed amount of hemp they need, amount of MCT oil as a carrier oil they need, what potency we are looking for, right? And then do that cycle. All of that is automated up to a point that when we need to uh, get the crude oil into decarboxylation, which by the way we leverage pharmaceutical grade vacuum ovens to do that part. And then obviously everyone has uh, the packaging at their disposal, right? That's no innovation done by me at all. So
So so
that's
you're
that's a
really
lot of technology.
so you're really geeking out over the ways the similarities and the underlying foundational similarities between digital transformation and running a CBD and hemp organization.
That
That's
is correct,
amazing.
sir. That is correct. Yep.
And how do you, I mean, tell us about the ways that you're growing your business. You said SEO, you said advertising. How do you divide up your, I mean, look, everyone has a limited amount of resources. Even the largest brands of the world, they will always talk about their limited resources. just that their limited resources are just a little bit bigger than my limited resources.
uh, and,
Um,
and
the point is, how do you allocate your time and your money to give you the biggest bang for your buck? I mean, being an entrepreneur is it's like you're the janitor and you're the architect, right? Like tell
absolutely.
us about that.
I wear many different hats, but then luckily, I was lucky enough that from the beginning, I was able to form a team that I leverage, and I've been leveraging them and their expertise right since day one. So they've been extremely helpful. From operations perspective, from looking at the roadmaps, our PR, press releases, etc. But still, I oversee. Obviously, I oversee a whole lot of those things. Now, how can you do that? I think I don't know what's the best answer, to be honest with you.
Well,
It's
not how do you do it, but what are your priorities? That's really the question, right? Like you have 8 to you have 50 you have 10 to 15 hours, 10 to 16 hours a day where you're like lucid, maybe less, right? Because I know that like after 5 p.m. it's like, okay, I'm a little tired. I want to be doing mundane, tedious tasks. I don't want to be doing high creativity tasks. Anyway, the point is, how do you, when you think about the next 6 months of your life and the business, what are the priorities that are important for your business to grow?
so part of the priority, to be honest with you, is as it comes with an organic growth that we are growing our team as well, right? Everyone says a teamwork is a dream work, right? So that's obviously the core of our foundation as well. We are no different from that perspective. However, you know, early in the morning, I think I spend a lot of time towards R&D, right, research and development of what we can do, because even though we got a great feedback of our existing extraction formulations, in my personal opinion, there's still that we can do a lot better than what we got right now, right? So there's always room for improvement. As they say, change is constant, correct? So that's where my I would say 40% of attention is, and then then I kind of uh, divide into two. I would say 30% different segregation or silos, if you will, and that's where marketing, okay, and what can we do innovatively in order to attract more customers, right?
Yeah.
So those are, I think, what as you call the high energy things, right? Everything else then I think is secondary to that.
So, Irfan, tell us about how people can find you.
Oh, I mean, me personally or the Blue Gem Hemp?
Well,
To
if they want to reach out to you to inquire more about business opportunities, that's one thing. And tell us where we can buy hemp.
Sure. So as I mentioned, we are 100% direct to consumer, so online. Blue Gem Hemp is, or bluegemcbd.com are our websites, right, where you can purchase our products, with an exception that from July 11th all the way till October 3rd, every Sunday will be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time, at our hemp farm in Wakanda, Illinois. So uh,
Right.
or you can follow us on our social media platform, where we not only advertise, or not only talk about our products, but also educate our customers how really truly CBD works. How can you benefit, how can you use it as an alternative medicine? Okay, so we talk about, and I personally educate about endocannabinoid medical science, right, or endocannabinoid system, also other physiological systems, that how really truly CBD works, right, with our human anatomy.
Hmm.
So all that content is available on our social media platforms.
That's
It's
really
at Blue
interesting.
Gem Hemp. Yep.
All
Because
right.
we are little crazy people. We believe a best consumer is an educated consumer, right? So,
Abs-
and by the way,
Absolutely.
no medical claims, no false claim, none of those stuff, right? Even customers that approach us in person, which was first time this past Sunday at the hemp farm. a lot of people ask, a lot of questions. Can I do this? Can I do this? And I was like, no. One lady who purchased something, she goes like, oh, my husband has, this level of arthritis. And I was like, can it cure? And I'm like, no, it will not cure, right? Because curing is different. A lot of folks are unfortunately, falsely
Sure.
advertising that cure. No, there's no cure. However, it'll help you get it to the homeostasis, right? To the balanced state.
Hmm.
And then obviously when, our physiological systems can't stay in a balanced state 24 hours. So, what would you want to, get yourself into a rabbit hole, right? There's no point. So in its totality, it's the best alternative, right, to uh, its corresponding drugs, like the I would say side effects that we have for opioids or any other synthetic pharmaceuticals. That's where really truly it shines, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, there needs to definitely be a lot more research. I mean, we're like 60, 80 years behind the curve on cannabis and CBD, and it'll get there. I mean, we'll understand what it does and what doesn't do it. And I think what's interesting about this space is that there will be. I was just telling this to my wife the other day. Like, there's a lot of components of our country in the United States that are very much the Wild West, like the internet and social platforms. I've seen them firsthand, painfully, death by a thousand cuts, go from a very wide open set of platforms to slowly one rule, one regulation, one prohibited piece of content to another. I mean, there was a time when you could promote crypto on Facebook, and now you can't. There were times when you didn't have disclosures on, Facebook advertising for politics, and now you do. There was a time when no one could see any ad that you were running, but as we are today, people can go to Facebook ads library and see every ad that every brand is advertising at this very moment because there are rules and regulations that slowly get built. And I believe in the cannabis space, we're in the very early stages of that. It's the Wild West. And I think we're going to get to a point, and this is good for the industry, where people will have an opportunity to understand the types of hemp, the types of CBD that are really good for them, which is ultimately good for the brands and the manufacturers, so that a consumer can have confidence that any particular CBD or hemp product that I buy is actually something very valuable that works with my physiology. It just takes a little bit of time and science to figure that out. And that's good for you ultimately, right?
Absolutely. And I am a big advocate of, even though a lot of companies and maybe their leaders not agree with this statement. However, I think the more regulation, right, as strict regulations, if governments or whoever's in charge to do that part, right, it kind of filters out, you know, okay, a lot of bad stuff, and then only thing left is all the good stuff out there, right? Uh, and then I think my personal, you know, opinion is that every single CBD company should think about, our tagline is your wellness, our passion, right?
Hmm.
Why are we in this business? To make sure that we are promoting your health and your wellness, right? Okay, that's the sole mission of me or Blue Gem Hemp. That's our thing, right? So every company has their own niche, right? They need to realize. I know not our brand, unfortunately, would target on that part, right? You have the Walmarts, the Julascos, and whatnot in the world, the Targets, right? And then there's a little tiny itty bitty Whole Foods, right? Okay, why is Whole Foods known for?
Well, they're not
Known
itty bitty
for?
anymore. They're
I agree.
they were at some point. They were at some point.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, look, you can. uh, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that you can be very successful and never be a name brand. You can be successful
agree.
beyond your wildest dreams, yet you'll never be a brand that's known beyond a small group of people. But you don't have to hit a home run. You can hit a base hit and still be successful.
I agree right there too. Absolutely. I think so far the feedback we've received, and it's a growing customer base. To be honest with you, which I'm very grateful to them. However, I think the common denominator there is the quality that they've been receiving since day one, right? And hopefully, that's my utmost uh, goal, or whatever you want to call it, right? To keep it consistent. Consistency, in my opinion, is what I'm chasing.
Very good. Irfan Sadiq, founder and chairman of Blue Gem Hemp. Thanks for being with us today. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for having me. Enjoy your day, sir.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the LA Business Podcast. If you like what we're doing on this podcast, please consider subscribing on Apple or Google Play, leaving a 5-star review, and sharing with your friends. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations for a guest you'd like to hear on this podcast, please email me, robert@brillmedia.co. Thank you. Have a fantastic day.